This variation of the classic Kate Mclaren was published in December's issue of Fly Fishing and Fly Tying magazine. You mount your hook in your vise, check the hold in the hook, catch on your thread and start to lay a thread base. Once you've got the thread started, you can remove the waste end. You want to stop your thread roughly in line with the barb of the hook. Next you tie in the golden pheasant crest tail. You want the tail to be about the length of the body. Measure up against the hook and catch in. Once you've caught the tail in, check its position, adjust as necessary, and tie in down the length of the entire body. Once you've tied it in, remove the waste and tidy up as needed. Once you've got the tail tied in, the next step is to tie in the rib and bind it down back along the body to the tail of the fly. It's worth taking your time to make sure you're happy with the position of the rib. Once you are, catch it in and bind down with touching turns to try and ensure you have a nice smooth underbody. Once you've tied the rib in and are happy with the underbody, it's time to dub the body. In this case, we use black seal's fur. With dubbing, less is often more. I would advise adding it sparingly initially. You can always add some more if you need to. I like my flies to have quite a slim profile, but this is a very personal choice. You do want to achieve a nice even taper to the body. After you initially catch in the dubbing, it's worth tightening up the noodle, and you will find that as you work your way up the fly, the noodle wants to loosen every couple of turns. It's worth taking the time to tighten it up to make sure you get a nice even body. You want to leave a couple of mil gap at the top of the body to allow you to tie in the hackles, legs and finish off the fly. You then want to select an appropriately sized body hackle. About 1 1/4 to 1 1/2 times the hook gap is about the right size. Remove the fluff from the base of the hackle and catch in. Double the stock back, tie it back into the tie-in point and then remove the waste. For this fly I've actually used a genetic hen hackle. This isn't as stiff as a cock hackle, but stiffer than a standard hen hackle. This should give the fly a bit more movement in the water. Put a couple of turns at the top of the body and then evenly palmer in open turns down the body. Don't panic if the hackle tip breaks, as it did here. Just take your time, rewind the body and carry on. It is best to rewind the hackle. You'll never get the hackle in the right position or evenly spaced if you try and pull it tight just after it's snapped. Once you've wound the hackle and are happy with its position, catch it in with the rib and continue winding the rib up the body in nice even open turns. 4 or 5 turns should be enough, and once you reach the head of the fly, catch in the rib with the thread and bind down. Don't worry too much about any stray feather or fur fibres, these can be tidied up after. Once you're happy with the rib tied in, remove the tag end of the feather trim the excess rib and tidy up the head of the fly ready for tying in the legs. For the legs of this fly, I am using knotted black pheasant tail fibres and tying in 3 on each side of the fly and positioning them slightly above the shank. Catch the legs in with a couple of turns of thread, check that you're happy with the position, adjust them as you want. Once you're happy, tie in the second bunch of legs in the same fashion. Once you're happy with the position of the legs, throw in another couple of thread wraps to catch them in fully and trim off the excess pheasant tail fibres. You're now ready to tie in the head hackle, in this case brown hen. You want to select a feather whose fibres are at least 1.5 to 2 times the gape of the hook. After removing the fluff from the base of the fibre, catch the hackle in by its tip. Tie the hackle in with a few wraps of thread towards the eye of the hook, fold the hackle tip back and bind it back down towards the tie-in point. You can now remove the hackle tip, but be careful not to damage any of the other hackle fibres. You're now ready to wind the hackle. Before you wind it, you want to fold the hackle fibres back on themselves and put on 2 or maybe 3 turns of hackle depending on the density of the feather. Once you're happy with the amount of hackle, catch in with the tying thread and bind the hackle down towards the eye of the hook. Once you've got the hackle tied in, fold the hackle tip back and form a nice neat head, catching in the fibre as you work your way back towards the tie-in point. Once you've formed the head of the fly, you want to remove the excess hackle. If you've tied it in securely, you should be able to do this by just pulling it away. Now add a whip finish to tie off, cut your thread and varnish the head of the fly, and you're finished.